Welcome to the Bill and Callie Show on WVLP-LP 103.1 FM and streaming live at WVLP.org or on your TuneIn app. We are broadcasting live from the historic 1 Center Street building in beautiful Valparaiso, Indiana. The Bill and Callie Show is underwritten by Bill Moran and Callie Rosella. Now, here are Bill and Callie.
Thank you.
Well, welcome again to the Bill and Kelly Show on this beautiful, kind of overcast morning.
But that's okay, I'll take it.
It's all right, we're taking it. So welcome to the show. We have a guest with us today. It is Zachary Gipson, who is the co-director of the show Gutenberg, the musical.
I like to call him set designer to the stars, actor extraordinaire, artist, teacher, and overall amazing guy.
Oh, thank you.
And thank goodness Kelly is here to run the show. So leave it an actor to introduce another actor.
That's right.
Of course.
They're all actors. So welcome to our show, and we're glad you're here today to talk about a couple of things that are happening in your life. One is the show that you're currently running at the Art Barn. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then also a show that starts tonight at...
No, it started last night, actually,
Oh,
at
it
Fluid.
started
Tonight. No, it's right.
Tonight.
But
Yeah,
wasn't the
that's what I
big thing
thought.
last night?
It's tonight from...
Oh, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, so you guys can still see it. Yeah.
Kelly
Nice.
was wrong about
I
something.
was, I know, it's hard to believe.
There's one.
And I think that may be the only one.
That's exactly right, and don't you forget it.
And if my life wants to become easy, it's going to be the only one that at least I recognize. So with that, Zach, why don't you tell us about how you got into this, where you're from, first of all.
Like your background,
all that
good stuff.
And the stuff that you can tell us if you're not a part of Witness Protection Program. And tell us what your inspiration is. So start with where you're from and where you went to school.
Well, I don't think I'm a part of that program, so I think we're good.
Okay, good.
Kelly and I are.
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
We're under aliases, but go ahead.
Perfect. So I grew up in Chesterton, Indiana, just north of here, north of Valpo. Went to Chesterton High School. I went to Chesterton High School with my friend Dustin, who is also part of Gutenberg. He's the other half of Gutenberg the musical. So I know today we're going to be talking about a lot of crossover. Like we're going to talk about Gutenberg, and I'll probably mention something about Fluids, the show at Fluid.
Yes.
So I'll do my best to make sure people know which show we're talking about, right? So Dustin and I are co-directing, co-producing, and co-starring in Gutenberg the musical. It's a two-man show. And we went to Chesterton High School. We're just a few years apart. And we really didn't know each other in high school.
Oh, wow.
We did one show, we did Footloose. My senior year, he was a freshman, I was a senior. And I played, what is it? Do you know Footloose?
I mean, I know the songs and everything. I don't know all the character
from
names.
the 80s, right? Willard Hewitt. Willard Hewitt.
Okay.
He's like the sidekick to
Right.
Ren. Usually
Got
it's
it.
played by a big country bumpkin guy, but I played a little more scrappy-doo, like one of my favorite roles. I hope to do it again. And he was in the chorus and ensemble and all sorts of characters. But anyways, we didn't really connect for a few years. He went off and did school. I often did school and my thing, and he moved back to the area. Or he was back in the area looking for work, I think, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. We're really good at helping each other out. And we started talking about ETC, my theater company, the Ensemble Theater Company, who's producing Gutenberg the musical at the Art Barn School of Art. And we were talking about producing a bunch of theater, actually we're planning a season of 20 shows. 20. We had a venue contact us and want us to do, it was 19 shows, we always just say 20, but 19 shows. And we started doing the math and programming and picking like small shows and 4 main stage shows, and it was too much. But we had already done all this work to like grow ETC. At that point I had already produced Young Frankenstein with the Chicago Street Theater as a
Which was
co-production.
spectacular,
It was
by
awesome.
the way.
Did you see it?
And even went to Holiday Star.
Yes,
which
it was actually
One of
the
my
last.
favorite
Before it was
movies.
It
Young
is-
Frankenstein.
It is
Yeah.
quite.
Oh.
It is great. Yeah.
Well, the musical's amazing.
the musical's good too.
Mel Gibson.
All the different people. My friend Mark
No,
McCulley
Brooks.
was in it. Cherie,
Yeah.
all kinds of people.
It was a chock full of Northwest Indiana, like the primo talent.
That's right.
And it was
Except for me, I wasn't in it.
You were not
so.
in that one, no.
That's the only primo
Woe
talent you
is the
didn't
show.
have.
Always
Kelly's
the
not
show. So yeah, it went to Star Plaza, and it was the last community theater production to be in the Star Plaza.
Yeah, which I
before
think is...
they tore it down.
I know.
RIP, R.I.P. I can't wait to see what comes
new,
what if they do anything. We will find out in time. I know the Crown Theater is opening up in
Crown Point.
Crown Point.
Yes.
Yeah, makes sense. Crown Point. So yeah, a little bit. What are we talking about? We're talking about me growing up, Dustin, Gutenberg.
Chesterton got together 19 shows.
Yeah, and he's like, no, we couldn't do it. So he went and he got a job in Kalamazoo, and I continued with ETC and working locally. And I started working at Purdue. Gosh, I mean, in between that and now is working in Chicago. I got nominated for a Jeff Award.
Yeah, you did.
Jeffs are like the Tonys.
Local Tonys?
Like
Tonys
for
are,
Chicago.
Tonys
yeah.
are in New York, and Jeff Awards are Chicago.
Right.
And then Northwest Indiana, we have NEDIF.
Right.
So I got a Jeff nomination, which is fantastic. I don't know if I said award. I meant nomination earlier.
Well, that's okay.
But it's still great. And to this day, I discovered it's the only scenic design nomination in a musical since 2014 when I was nominated. Because what the Jeffs do is they combine the plays and the musicals, the design elements. NEDIF in the Northwest Indiana's Excellence in Theater Foundation, they have like a play category and a musical category.
Yes.
So I was like, really, someone told me that, and I was like, well, that's really cool. A lot of times plays get nominated because plays usually, this isn't always, but plays usually take place in 2, 3, or 4 locations.
Right.
Musicals go everywhere. So you have to spend the money across the board versus a few little intricacies. So yeah, I did the Chicago scene. I went to Columbia College Chicago, studied theatrical design, came back to the area, directed a season at Purdue Northwest. We did Little Shop of Horrors and The Somewhat True Tale of Robin Hood. And then I got a call from Culver Academies. It's a boarding school in Culver, Indiana. And I'm now their assistant director of theater, going into my first year of doing that. I was there for a half year, kind of feeling the waters, and producing theater. This year we did Always Patsy Cline at the Opera House.
Oh, yeah.
Sold out, number of performances, over 1,000 people saw the show.
Yeah,
which is
ignore that,
fantastic.
by the way.
What is that?
It's
Some
part of our
emergency
show.
thing that just seems to go on our show all
That is the scariest sound.
Isn't it?
This
It's
terrifies
lovely.
me.
I know. Terrifies us, too.
What is that
Orson Welles?
play?
War of the
Everything
World?
Goes Wrong.
Oh,
in
Oh, the play that goes wrong. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like our show.
Everything
Our
will-
show is just a mimic of that.
Yeah.
So just we move on.
It's the sound.
It'll
of like when
it'll
there's
happen
no-
again, too, I'm sure.
Is it untimed? What time is it?
I don't know.
It is
goes
18
off.
minutes after 11. That is so obscure.
Goes off during our show. I
Only
don't know
your
why.
show.
Yes, only our show.
It's a warning to the people of the Valparaiso area that our show is now on the air
That's
to take cover. And
The sirens have gone
Yeah.
off.
That's right.
No, actually, that's one of the most terrifying sounds.
It
That with the siren outside.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
yeah, don't worry.
I know. It just,
Yeah,
it's annoying that it happens.
Perfect. So, yeah, Always Patsy Cline, a 2-woman musical. Why not produce a 2-man musical?
Of course.
Gutenberg. So that leads us to Gutenberg, the musical, and it's at the Art Barn. We sold out last Friday. We only seat 50 tickets, 55 seats or so. So, like, when we say we sell out, we're not, like, selling out 3,000, 4,000 seats, so we have to stay humble. It's only 50 people. I mean,
Is that maximum capacity?
max capacity for the room, I think, is 80 or 82, but because we have there it is.
There it is. I told
Look
you.
out, warning.
It's just let people know about Gutenberg, the
That's
musical.
right. Now the award.
If you actually take that recording of that fuzzy noise and slow it down in reverse, it says, "Come see Gutenberg the musical."
You're right.
Yes, yeah,
You're
I've
right.
done it
Oh,
before.
cool.
I just translated it on
All
my
right.
phone. So
Google Translate is so beautiful.
So yeah, it's like 80, but because we have a small stage, I think our playing space right now is 10 feet or 12 feet by 8. It's very intimate.
Very black box theater.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. So there's a curtain in the back and just a few lights. And then there's an aisle. We want to stay safe, so I think we're going to seat 55. We're selling out at 50, and then I'm holding a few for like producer friends or local theater companies who want to come see it and potentially put it in their space for next year,
Right.
that sort of thing. Normal, viewers or audience members don't realize how much goes into the theater scene. Like There's the politics. I keep seats available for native viewers, for other community theaters if the heads of their artistic directors or heads of the boards want to see the show. It's a courtesy thing too. You keep those tickets available. We might not sell those, so we'd be out a few seats, but technically we say we're sold out because we're stopping the sales.
Right.
But you keep some on reserve for friends from Chicago that make a big trip, and if they drive an hour and a half away to see your show and there's no tickets, well, that would be detrimental for their evening.
Well, talking about making things more detrimental.
Yeah,
so,
right.
So why don't you explain how you go about getting tickets for Gutenberg for the remaining shows?
Perfect. So we have one more weekend. That's the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. That's this Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Unfortunately, for the viewers, Friday is sold out. Sunday is, I think, 5 tickets away from selling out. Saturday, though, we only have, I think, 22 tickets sold. So with holding, I think it'll be about 20 tickets available left. But you go to ensembletheatercompany.org, and I'm going to spell that for you. Ensemble, Ensemble, theater, Theatre, because you can spell it with an ER.
That's true. But you're
ER
wrong
is
if you
the
do it
venue,
ER.
RE is the art form, yeah. And then company, company.org. You can go there. You can find us on Facebook too, though. Like, Facebook's great.
Oh, yeah.
We're running Facebook ads. We're doing Instagram ads. We're getting a lot of clicks, a lot of likes. You get most of your money, a return on your investment when you do a Facebook ad, if you do it the right way. We gauge ours to a certain area. I think it's like a 13-mile or 10-mile radius,
Right.
so 20-mile diameter, and it covers the whole region. Because ETC is young, we're fresh. We've been around since 2015. I've been producing for 6 years. And, not everyone knows about us. When we went to the Chicago Street Theater, the Chicago Street Theater's marketing was just fantastic. We sold out. It was a great show. And we went to the Star Plaza. We reached a huge audience. And then I took a year. I think we took a year off. No, we took about a year off, and then we did Patsy Cline at the Acorn Theater in Three Oaks, Michigan, and then took it to the Opera House. We're looking at maybe remounting that show. And potentially remounting Gutenberg. But you can get your tickets at ensembletheatercompany.org. They're also on brownpapertickets.com. That's the main ticket holder. But if you go to ETC, if you go to our website, it'll link you to that. Or you can call me. My cell phone is 219-510-2302. I know that sounds silly, but it's true. You can just call me, and then I'll reserve your seat.
Perfect.
I can manage 50, a house of 50.
Yeah,
There you
you
go.
got the energy after you had all the caffeine this morning. Right?
I don't know how I have the energy today.
Why don't you explain a little bit more about the show? We know it's a 2-man show.
Yeah.
What about the name? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
For
What's it
people
about?
who do not know.
Well,
How did you find out about it, too? I want to know that.
So let's do that. Let's talk
Okay.
about me and my friend Dustin, and then we'll talk about the characters we play. So we're
Perfect.
outside of the realm of the theater scene. So this show came to me 3 years ago. A friend of mine was going to produce it in Chicago. They decided not to, but when he mentioned it to me, I said, I'm going to look into it, because I was scenic designing for them a lot of their shows, and I fell in love with it. I said, this is hilarious. It's just 2 guys, and what these 2 guys are doing is they're proposing a show to the audience that's there, hoping there's a Broadway producer. So you want to produce it in houses where it's kind of obscure, like the Art Barn School of Art. They've never had a musical in their space. In 55 years they've been around. Never once. So the chances of a Broadway producer being there are very slim, which plays to this humor
yeah,
of
that's even
these 2
funnier.
guys and their enthusiasm. So I programmed to do the show with Chicago Street Theater 2 years ago, I think, or a year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that, and no one auditioned. I had no one audition, and that's hard to do a show, two-man musical when no one auditions.
Oh.
I eventually got a friend to come out for it, but there is a bylaw in the Chicago Street Theater's a law in their bylaws that said that the director cannot cast themselves, and I was directing, and I wouldn't wanted to cast myself, and they wouldn't let me. So I said, well, we can't do it because we just don't have. It's just going to be a one-man show, and we ended up not doing the show, and I sat on it for a year, and I called everyone. I called 20 plus guys. You can actually do the show with 2 females as well. You would just make the changes accordingly. And I didn't discover that until recently. That probably would have changed my reach at that point. But I sat down with my buddy Dustin. I said, Dustin, I want you to direct this with me, because we were playing, when was it? It was December of 2017. So this past December, we were playing Dungeons and Dragons. We have been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 2 years now. He is our DM, which is our Dungeon Master. So here he is at the end of the table. This is like a 16-hour game, no joke. It's a 2-day Dungeons and Dragons game we're playing. And he's playing all these characters. Dustin Ritchie's going and he's playing this tavern person, he's playing this sorcerer, all of these different warriors and like these crazy, and he's playing all these characters, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, this is perfect. It's been my friends, this is right in front of me this whole time. Why didn't I think about this? And he got a job at Indiana Tourism, so he's living locally now. He was in Kalamazoo, which didn't make things feasible. So I said, let's work on this together. So I gave him a script. I said, what do you think? How can we get 2 guys to play with this show? They play 25 different characters throughout the night, because what these 2 guys are doing is they're putting on a reading of the show. There's no set, there's no costumes, there's no cast. They are the cast. So they're wearing hats like these, and for those that can see, it's like a trucker hat, but the front's empty, and they just write, daughter, doctor, woman, another woman, anti-Semitic flower girl, the evil monk, Gutenberg. They play all these characters, and they're switching the hands constantly. They have different character voices, they have different character statures, and the funny thing is that they're really, really good at doing what they do, but the show that they wrote really isn't that good. So you're watching these 2 guys perform a show really well. It's not a good show. And then they'll break for a minute and say, okay, they'll talk to the audience and explain to the audience what they just did and why the evil monk is so evil and why he has to be evil. And the whole evening is full of that. And the beauty of it is it's only a 45-minute Act 1, a 40-minute Act 2. You're not in the theater for like 3 hours watching, these 2 guys, because I don't know how 2 people could have that much stamina to, do the show the whole time. So it's only, you're in the theater for less than 2 hours. We stay after and talk with a lot of people, So we programmed to do the show. Dustin and I said, you're my co-director, let's do it. And we purchased royalties. Royalties are expensive.
Oh yeah, they are.
For this show, it's $1,700.
Oh,
I don't
per performance.
No, not per performance.
Okay.
Heck no.
All right,
but for 2
Well,
weekends,
that's like-
and it can get real expensive. Patsy Cline
it
was
can be.
was thousands of dollars for
If
3.
people are not familiar about the structure of a local theater, you have to give a cut to the theater that's hosting. Is that correct?
Well, sort of. Yeah, for those who don't know how to produce theater, I encourage you to try it and do it. Gutenberg is produced in partnership with Samuel French Incorporated in New York. And what you do is you go to their website and you say, I want to produce Gutenberg. And you tell them how many seats, how much you're selling tickets for. So if you have 50 seats and they're $20 a seat, they do an equation. It's secret. No one knows it. And then they say, here's how much it is for you to produce our show. You pay them all that money up front, and now you have the legal right to hold auditions. You can buy the script, the score, you can actually start rehearsing, and then do the show. But a lot of companies require the money up front, and then what you're doing is you're paying the original cast sometimes, definitely the writers, and then Samuel French, the rights holding company, publishers, yeah, they take a section of the fees too. A lot of times, original producers will have something in their contract that says they take a percentage, and it's usually a small. There's not a lot of money in theater, but I'll tell you what, right now, producing like Patsy Cline the musical, you're paying Ted Swinley Productions, and Ted Swinley Productions is paying the estate to Patsy Cline.
Right.
Also, Willie Nelson, because we sing Crazy in that song. And there's 28 songs Patsy Cline sings, the character Patsy
he
Cline.
writes for
And
those.
every single person that wrote those songs, either in partnership or they wrote it solo, or Patsy wrote it herself, you have to pay a percentage.
Oh.
So it gets expensive.
But what
Yeah.
about the local cost?
So, like for me, I am the artistic director for Ensemble Theater Company. So ETC is the producing entity. ETC is renting the Art Barn School of Art. We're paying royalties. We're purchasing the hats. We're doing the marketing. We're programming, posters, Facebook ads. We have an excellent piano player. Her name is Rachel Lauer. We're really excited to be working with her because this is her first time.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah, her
Oh,
first
wow.
time performing a show solo. She's done dozens and dozens of pit work.
Yeah.
Yeah, her and her husband, Christian, they perform in pits. I think Christian just covered for the Opera House's production of Legally Blonde for one night. He plays bass, and I'm sure other things. She plays piano, and they're always in the pit, second keys. She's jumping around all over the place. And I contacted her. We had trouble finding a piano player. We went through a few people, and finally someone said, "Why not Rachel?" And I said, "Well, I never thought of Rachel, because whenever I'm on stage looking down in the pit, I'm seeing her on second keys. I'm not considering her for
Right.
the lead. And it's only a piano. It's a 2-man musical with one piano." And she's doing a fantastic job. She is loving it. When I do get a chance to turn around and look, she's usually like holding her chin down, trying not to laugh, which it'd be okay if she laughed, but
Right.
she's holding it in,
Well, just if we will allow us to take a little bit of a break,
Of
or
course.
else you will need to include 2 more people into your production, because they'll throw us right off the air if we don't do this. So
Perfect.
with that, we will take a short station break, and we
Very
will be
short.
back with you in just a minute.
Show on WVLP-LP 103.1 FM and streaming live at WVLP.org or on your TuneIn app. We are broadcasting live from the historic 1 Center Street building in beautiful Valparaiso, Indiana. The Bill and Callie Show is underwritten by Bill Moran and Callie Runsala. Now, here are your hosts, Bill and Callie.
Nope.
Well, we're back here, and we are again talking to Zachary
Zachary
Gipson,
Gipson.
who's the co-director of Gutenberg the Musical.
That's right.
Now, one thing before you get back what we were talking about, because people are out there probably Googling Gutenberg. I know I heard that. So what the heck? What is that musical about? So when you explain probably what the top hit that they're coming up with,
Sure.
and explain. And
Why that really doesn't
What
have a whole lot to
really-
do with.
exactly. Because,
So-
I mean, doing a show about a guy who invented the printing press is probably kind of
It's obscure.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, right.
obscure and probably a stretch, I imagine.
It is. Now, there's a Gutenberg recent guy. Is it Steve Gutenberg, the
Yes,
comedian?
the comedian
Some
and
people think
actor.
it's about him, but it's not. These 2 guys, their character names are Bud and Doug. I play Doug. Dustin plays Bud. Bud and Doug think Gutenberg is like the most important man in history, and I think some historians would agree.
Oh, sure.
He started mass producing. He got his hands on the Bible and printed the Gutenberg Bible. That's normally where we hear from, and the show is loosely based on that. It's not factual in any way. The guys will stand on stage if you see the show, and they say to the audience, "We wanted to do some research, so we literally went to Google. We typed in, 'Who is Johann Gutenberg?' printed out the first thing that came up, and then they read it, and it literally says something to the nature of, the life and works of Johann Gutenberg are scant." So that is the basic. Like, that is it. That's what they go off of. They write a whole musical off of those 2 sentences. And I've actually done some research, and it is kind of, he was born in 1400 and died in the 1460 or 1410 or something. And there's years that they don't have anything documented of his life. It's a question of what year did the Gutenberg press actually get invented. I think it was 1454 or 55, but they just kind of say 1450 just as a blanket, year, right in the middle there. So yeah, Gutenberg the musical is loosely based on the life of Johann Gutenberg, the inventor of the printing press, and went to mass produce the Gutenberg Bible.
But there's not a whole lot about him
Well,
in the show per se.
My character Doug plays Gutenberg within the show, within the show.
Right.
And Dustin, who plays Bud plays the evil monk. And the main show within the show storyline is that the monk wants power, and the monk has the Bible, and he's looking over the town of Schlimmer. It's in Schlimmer, Germany.
Okay.
And no one can read. Well, if no one can read, then the monk has power, and the Bible says what he thinks it says, and whatever he
Okay.
says. So, this monk is in control and has power, and Gutenberg invents the printing press. The monk wants the printing press destroyed, because if people start getting, if they start having things to read, then they're going to learn to read.
Right.
So it's that struggle. And there's also a girl. Her name's Helvetica. She's a beautiful blonde German girl with beautiful breasts and blonde hair. And her name's also a font. And she loves Gutenberg. And Gutenberg doesn't love her, but then Gutenberg does love her, and then it goes back and forth. But then the monk convinces Helvetica to destroy the printing press.
Okay, but
And
none of that is actual.
None of this is
truth.
I-
This is just
I
all
will
what
say
they
it is
decided.
not true.
Okay, they just all decided that this is going to be the
You know,
story.
in this day and age, you do have to disqualify certain information
Wait a
that you
minute.
put out there.
Yeah.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Check your facts.
That's right.
So I can confidently say, in olden times, there were a lot of poor wenches, and so if Helvetica did exist, there's a good chance Gutenberg knew her.
That's true.
But that's about it.
That's it. If there was a Helvetica.
Right.
Well, you know, he's
Exactly.
probably laying there somewhere saying, "Gosh, they're making great fun of my life. That's great."
Yeah, I was.
celebrating his life,
That's
Yeah.
right. Putting his name out there.
setting all those lead pieces of print
lettering.
and lettering
That's right.
and oh yeah, oh gosh, can you imagine? But before it was handwritten.
Yeah,
over his-
everything had to be
his-
translated by the monks in the churches, and they would, handwrite all those pages and.
And thanks
But
to
I,
Gutenberg, we don't
I
have
love
to.
this whole analogy I'm developing, probably only in my mind, about the evil monk taking advantage of. Okay, we'll stop there.
We knew where your
No,
mind's
we
going.
don't get political on this show.
We don't.
Yeah, right. Well, let me say something real quick, and that is, I mean, I've been saying a lot already, so
No,
I don't need
no,
to like,
no, no, no.
stop
We
you.
love it.
The beauty of this musical is that there isn't a undertone of political jargon. There isn't like we're not trying to change the world. We're not trying to say go gluten free. Don't eat meat. Like there is no underlining message. It's literally just a good time in the theater, and it's funny. There's slapstick. There's like vaudevillian acts. It's goofy. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes we get a little offensive, which is always good. There was two 8-year-olds in the audience this past weekend, and we included them. We said, hey, they get talkative sometimes.
Of course.
So we would respond, and there's some language in the show, and their parents were totally fine with it, and they loved it. I would say the show's a PG-13 show. There is at one point there's strong language because the guys get really into it. I won't tell you what happens because I don't want to spoil anything. But Bud and Doug, they don't get upset, but the stakes are high, I will say, towards the end of Act 2. But yeah, it's just a good evening. It's not, it's not a show people know, so you're not going to go in
What
wanting
time
to
does the
hum.
show start?
Fridays and Saturdays at 8, Sundays at 2.
So go out to dinner.
Yeah.
Have a glass of wine, whatever.
Of
Go to
course.
the theater and leave just having a great time. Your stomach
Yeah.
hurting from laughing so much.
So how long
Perfect
is the
evening.
show?
The show's about 90 minutes.
Wow.
It's under 2 hours, definitely under 2 hours. There's a 15-minute or so intermission. If not enough people are using the bathroom, we'll cut it short. But the art barn itself, can we talk about the art
Yes,
barn?
Oh,
yes.
definitely.
Where is it? And what's
so
it like? And,
that's the good question. I actually have Dustin and I designed these business cards.
Oh, how cool.
And here, I'll give you guys one.
I
think
love
I
it.
might have given you one before. Here you go, Bill.
Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll switch
And a lot of people have been asking, well, where is the art barn? So we put a map on the back.
That's lovely.
There's a little map on the back to get to the art barn. And the address is, for those who know addresses, because I know some people do because they live in the area for quite some time, 695 North,
see if I
400
eloquently do
East.
this.
There you go, right? And,
Excuse our high technology studios
Yeah, the
at the Bill and
slideshow.
Kelly Show.
If
I
you can
hold steady
go
enough.
on 2 and go north, or take 6 east, and then once you get to 400, go south, and it's like right down the road. It's a beautiful barn. It's a red barn, a 2-story. They've got a miniature horse, two goats, a donkey, a bunch of chickens. Rabbits are running free.
Sounds amazing.
So these are live. They're just not.
They're
stuff.
real. They're not
Really?
taxidermied.
Wow.
Not yet.
Oh.
I don't know. I can't say what they do after. Yeah.
Peter may be listening.
I know, right? But when we were setting up, there was a random turkey that was walking up, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't know whose turkey that is, and it's taken residence."
How
We were
fun!
running. Get this. We were running the show Thursday before we opened on Friday, and there's a window to the right, stage right of the show, and this turkey flies up, lands on the window, and I'm in the middle of a solo. Like, this is Helvetica's Act 2 power ballad song. I've got, my Helvetica thing on. I'm singing with rats and feces, and because she's kept up in the monk's evil tower. And there's a turkey, like a full turkey. Turkeys are big. When you eat a turkey, it's usually in a sandwich. So it's in your hand. Or when you make a turkey.
Again, PETA may be listening to the show.
It's okay.
I think we're good. And it's gluten-free. And turkeys are like, when you cook them, I don't know.
Yeah.
But this
But
thing was
they're
big.
huge.
It was like, stood like this tall.
Open up the auditions to turkeys?
Turkeys,
Maybe
we
was this,
That's probably what it
complaint?
was, is he's just jealous he's not in the show.
he wanted to get in on the
He
action.
wanted to play
No,
Helvetica.
I think PETA would have a problem if we had turkeys
That's
in the show.
probably true.
We move around a lot. But let's talk about auditions, because we've talked about the art barn.
Yes.
It's a beautiful space, and there's a lot of art in the barn. At the art barn.
At the art
Who'd
barn.
have thunk? But yeah, so Dustin and I held auditions, and the same thing happened as when I programmed to do the show with Chicago Street Theater. No one auditioned, and I couldn't
why?
believe
Because
it.
people don't know what it is.
I think that has a lot to play with
part
it.
of it. Yeah.
Or the name, they Googled it, said, really? Seriously?
Yeah, right.
How much can you do about the guy who...
Or Steve Gutenberg. I mean, really?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Police Academy or something, or whatever.
Now I might offend some males by saying this.
okay.
So don't
That's
worry.
okay.
Yeah. But I honestly think this has to play with it. When you are in Northwest Indiana, and this is just my opinion.
Okay.
And how much time do we have? Are we good?
Oh, yeah,
okay,
we're
we
fine.
have 20
Okay.
minutes.
Oh, great. Good.
20 minutes for your
Depending
opinion.
on how much you offend us, we can have a few seconds.
Right. Well, I don't think you'll be offended. It's more
you won't be.
actors based in Northwest Indiana. I have done theater in this region for 10 years. Sometimes I've done, like in 1 year I'll do 15 shows. Some years I'll do one show. Like it just changes.
Right.
When I was younger, I was nonstop. I was that chorus guy who was in all the numbers, who was dancing, who occasionally got a good meaty lead role, but I was still doing the chorus. I didn't have the head on myself at that point. But then you get to the point where you're like, I don't need to do those chorus parts. Spend 4 or 5 days a week rehearsing because I've got a resume, and I feel like. And you might have an opinion on this too, Bill. Chime in too. I don't, you're not invested in the theater scene like Kelly is right
I'm
now.
heavily invested
Well,
in these.
yeah, we with Callie, you hear about
Very
it all
heavily.
the time. I'm
You
sure.
are now.
Yeah. Good luck.
Mostly
break a leg.
by choice for those listening.
There it is. It's wise.
This
wise.
is America.
I think the kind of caliber talent that takes to do a two-man show like this, I don't think the guys in this region want to do that. I feel like you can audition for a show. If you've got a good voice, you can move well, you can audition for a show, you can get a lead role that sings one song in Act 1, one song in Act 2, you're rehearsing once or twice a week, and you're set. Like you get all the glory. You sing the audience is applauding, sold out performances, and it's not like you're still working. You're still doing a lot of work, but you're getting the applause, you're getting the time in, and you're not having to commit to memorizing an entire show,
Right.
let alone where all the hats go and that sort of thing. I can't say this is the hardest thing I've ever done because Young Frankenstein had over 100 people involved.
Right.
So coordinating that and speaking to everyone and creating that piece with 80 to 100 people was just super challenging, as well as then performing as Frederick Frankenstein was also challenging and fun. But this show's challenging because there's so much to memorize. If I'm not speaking, Dustin's speaking. If Dustin's not speaking, I'm speaking. And we're telling the story, and then we have 25, 30 hats on the stage. We're constantly switching them around. So the thing that I think is some guys might find offensive or incorrect or who knows what, I honestly just think the draw to do this kind of work and put this much time into a production, it's just not there anymore.
Yeah.
Guys in this region are, there are so many community theaters. There's over 20 community theaters in Northwest Indiana. You could be at any level in your talent skill, your skill tree. Mm-hmm. You can go and get a lead anywhere. There's enough houses to where, when I say houses, I mean community theaters.
Right.
Where, they're always doing the shows and there's always a lead. So you can go anywhere and become a lead actor. So why would you spend the time to rehearsing, for 3 weeks straight, trying to memorize all this?
Well, there's also a lot of guys who don't want to be the lead. They just want the little role in the back.
That's true.
They
And
don't
that's
want
good
to
for
have
them.
to do all that other stuff. They're perfectly happy being a
That's true.
supporting role, too.
And those are great. Those
Yeah.
are fun because it's a good break. And if your work schedule's busy and you don't have time to memorize,
Exactly.
or I found it was challenging memorizing this. I've actually never really been good at memorizing, but as you age as an actor, sometimes it gets harder to memorize long excerpts. There's a show I'm looking at right now where a character has a 4.5-page monologue. 4.5 page. Well,
I know. I do a one-woman show,
You do
and
a
it's an hour
one-woman
and
show.
20
Who am I
minutes, and I
talking to?
know. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
And I'm-
whatever.
I'm-
We're here to talk about Gutenberg.
No. Kelly, you did it at was it Michigan City? Right?
Yeah.
Did you do it somewhere else?
I've done it quite a few
Multiple
places.
multiple
Yeah.
places. So
yeah.
what's your let's switch us over for a hot
Oh,
second.
God.
Here we go. When you do you book it? Do you book your show?
Yes, usually.
So you're doing the same thing I'm doing. You're
Yes.
one running your own show.
Yes.
So tell me where you did it.
I've done it at Purdue. Well, now they're combined, but
Purdue
I did it
Northwest.
at Purdue Cal and Purdue North.
Oh, so you did it at the Hammond campus and the Westville campus.
Correct.
Oh, fantastic.
Done it at Beatniks on Conkey.
Okay.
I-
Now let me interrupt. When you did it at Purdue Northwest, the Hammond campus, were you in the Wygene?
I was whatever the room is right off of the cafeteria in the Union.
The
It wasn't
cafeteria.
an
So it was
actual
downstairs.
Theater. Yeah, it was downstairs, like in the main Union.
Oh, interesting. Because there's
Yeah,
a small.
There is a small theater upstairs. I did not do it there.
Okay, I
I've
think
seen shows there, but
Okay, I think it would fit up there. When we did,
Oh, yeah, it would
when I
fit up
directed
there.
the season, we were in the stage in the big alumni hall area. That's where Little Shop and
Mm-hmm.
Robin Hood was. But interesting. So you also did it at the Westville campus,
Mm-hmm.
and
oh gosh, where else? Michigan City.
Yeah, Michigan City is the one I saw.
Can't even think of all the places I've done.
Footlight,
but
or was it Canterbury?
it was at Canterbury.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Great.
yes.
Cool.
So yeah, I love
And
doing it,
I'm
and
gonna-
I want to.
So
here's
she
my
can't gag
problem.
me. Amazing.
Okay, thank you.
An hour
Capital
and
A.
20 minutes of absolutely
Thank you, dear. I don't know.
amazing.
Thank you, honey.
That
Where's
is
my
so
money?
hard to.
My problem right now is, and I shout out to Jerry if you're listening. I love you, and I hope you're feeling really great today because
Yeah, he's
Jerry Holt, who is an amazing playwright, author, and he is the head of the English department up at Purdue in Westville. He had quadruple bypass, I believe, yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm sending out my love to him and
Good
everything.
vibes.
As
but
we all are.
he researched my character so much and everything, and wrote this amazing show. And based on all the information he had, he wrote this amazing show. Okay. Well, I'm an Ancestry.com kind of geek because I did my DNA and I love finding out about my family and everything because I was adopted as a baby. So like I'm finding people in
Oh,
my
it's very
family
interesting
and
for you
stuff
then,
is really
yeah.
cool. But I wanted to know if I knew Julia Marlowe, the character that I played, never had children, but I knew she had siblings. So I did this research on Ancestry.com, and in the play, her father leaves when they live in Portsmouth, Ohio. He leaves to go to Australia, and then the mom takes the rest of the children, and they move to Cincinnati. Well, dumb me in my research found out that the dad was actually still with them in 1880 in the census when they lived in Cincinnati. So I feel like we have to fix the show a little bit just because I want it to be correct. And so he's going to be working on it. But he's got other things going on
He's
right
working
now.
on himself right
yeah.
now, yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
last year he was a Fulbright scholar working in Bergen in Norway. He got to teach for a whole year there, being a scholar, professor scholar and everything. So, he had that, and now he's back, and now he's got this thing going on and stuff. So I will update it and have that going.
Do you think
But
there's
anyway.
conversation? There's room to talk about do you think the family said he was with them just to help with the census, or was there tax reasons? I don't know.
I
if
see,
the
that's
tax
what I
was
don't
seen
know.
as like
I mean,
that.
it says in the census that he was a saloon keeper. I mean, that this is,
So he had
that
a-
they lived
a
here. He was a
presence.
saloon keeper, and here's the kids, and here's his wife, and everything. And it actually even states, Julia, whose name was Franny at the time, because they were under aliases basically here.
Okay.
It says Franny, and it actually says she was like 12 or something in the census, but it says actress because she started doing theater and everything. So, I mean, I know it's the right census, but I don't know if, but I mean, according to the census and everything.
Yeah. Well, see, that just goes to show how much extra work goes into a show.
Oh, yeah.
You know, general audience members will enjoy a show or sit there and clap and applaud, which is fantastic. But I encourage audiences to, like, take time sometimes and talk to a theater person and ask, like, what does it take? Or if you're interested or you want to know, don't be afraid to ask. I know sometimes theaters will do Q&As. A lot of times they're like a Thursday performance.
Right.
Go to those. Sometimes there's low attendance to the Q&As, and ask away. You're going to get a lot of people asking things like, how long does it take to memorize? Or how do you memorize all those things?
How long have you
Sure,
been doing
we'll
this?
answer
Blah, blah,
those.
blah.
But there's a lot of meaty stuff too, like
Right.
the research that goes into these characters we play.
Sure.
Sometimes you live vicariously through them. Sometimes you just make it up, or sometimes you play yourself up to an extreme. I have to say, for this show, I've encouraged Dustin. I've invited him. I say, Dustin, just play yourself to an extreme. Now he does it a little differently. I'm pretty much just as Doug. I'm Zachary on stage, just being all jolly and goofy and fun, and that makes it a lot more enjoyable for me. Also a little easier because then I don't have to worry about
Right.
being someone else. I'm just playing myself with a different name. Yeah.
Right. One thing before we get too far, much further into the show, rather, we do want to mention a show that you're going to be
yes.
involved in starting tonight.
I was
Yes.
just thinking about that. So,
Yes.
so Gutenberg the musical, right? That happens this weekend, and it's going to be closed. So Friday is sold out. You got to get your tickets on Saturday. For Saturday, again, you can get them online. We can talk about that later at the end.
Right.
But meanwhile, we've been rehearsing. Dustin and I have been rehearsing for 3.5, almost 4 weeks. I have an art series that I curate. It's called Two-Faced. So in between rehearsals, now I am fortunate. I don't work over the summer. I teach at the academy, so I spend my summers in Valpo with my girlfriend Stephanie. And
Hi, Stephanie.
hi, Stephanie. She's at work right now. She's in Chicago, so
Well,
I don't think she's chimed in.
that's
but
okay.
she'll watch
you'll
later
hear it.
for sure.
Yes.
I do photography and painting. Now the owners of Fluid Coffee Bar, Chuck and Allison, they're
Yes.
awesome
The
people.
Skates,
The
they're
skates,
know them well.
fabulous. Yes.
You guys, what do we have here? Oh,
Yeah, our
look at
Fluid
that.
Cups.
Fluid coffee.
We did a show with them yesterday
I've got
too
my
as
agua
well.
here.
They were on our
Fluid.
show yesterday.
Hydrate.
Fluid fuels the Bill,
Bill
and
and
Kelly
Kelly
show
show. Yes, it
on
does.
WVLP.
That's right. They do.
That
Yes.
should be branded somewhere.
That
Or else. So this is the fourth in the Two-Faced series.
Okay.
A year ago, I opened my first gallery ever. I've never done art shows. I've always been fascinated by like putting a bunch of art into one room that's one person's. And I did it at Fluid. They invited me to put up a show. So I did. And I created this character called Pickles the Clown. And I painted myself up, and my buddies Dustin and my friend Jake and Dan, we did a photo shoot in the middle of the woods at like 1 o'clock in the morning. We got done at like 4. We were all painted as clowns. And we had backdrops, and we had hats and clown outfits. And we're talking, I mean...
Now, clowns
Yes.
in the middle of the woods.
Yes, and we pulled like a 300-foot extension cable out from his house, and we had a paper backdrop that was like 30 by 15, and we lit it on fire at the end of the shoot. So like it was
yeah.
crazy. Like it was really neat, and we did this sober. Like I don't drink. We do this kind of stuff. I don't do drugs.
It's a good thing you don't drink
Yeah,
because
no,
this is what you do sober.
I was afraid as a kid in high school.
You do realize there are people out there, once we mentioned clowns, woods, they started sweating.
Yeah, right.
Having-
And that's like I
That's
did when
the
that
whole
sound
point,
came
yeah.
on earlier in your episode. No, seriously, in high school, like I didn't drink. I was a good guy because I thought like I have all this energy. If I was under the influence of something, I would kill somebody. Like I would accidentally kill somebody.
Again, we're bringing up some themes here, which are maybe disturbing. Clowns, woods, killing.
Yeah. Okay. Right. But no, seriously. I think I enjoy a glass of wine every so often with my lady. So we did this photo shoot, and I painted this awesome portrait of Pickles the Clown on a wooden palette. It's very grainy. It's very, very rough and edgy. Put it up at Fluid, and people loved it. A lot of people wanted to buy it, and I'm like, no. I'm not. I don't know. This is my first time painting something like this. I want to hold on to this, and it's kind of the headline of the main character, if you will, of Two-Faced. And the whole Two-Faced theme has a really deep hidden origin, which I won't dive into today because it is kind of a secret.
Right.
I slowly develop the series as we move along. People who come to the series learn a little bit more about Pickles and the origin of the series.
Okay.
So you have to go to Fluid to see that. But Pickles is a clown, and his name's Pickles, like cucumbers.
Right.
Cucumbers are pickles in disguise, pickles are cucumbers in disguise, like clowns are people in disguise. So it's like the perfect mascot.
I love that.
And I had this idea. I said, why not approach businesses that I'm friends with? I'm a regular in Northwest Indiana's
right.
thing, especially Valpo and Chesterton. Why not try to photograph the staffs and owners as clowns? So I did. Went to Roots Organic Juice Cafe, where I used to work, and Bill and Carrie were totally down for it. We got like 8 of the staff to go and spend an evening downstairs. That evening we had donuts. What's that donut place down the road? Rise and Roll.
Oh.
Yes.
We had some
got to
tomato
try
bar
that.
pizza and
That's a lot of carbs.
oh my gosh, it was epic.
Yeah, but
and we did a photo shoot. It's a very unique experience. What I did is I partnered the staff up, and each person painted the other person, and I kind of conducted it a little bit. For me to paint 10 faces would take hours. So I partnered people up. I gave them pointers, and I said, you do it your own way. You create your own clown, however you want to be. And I set up the very dramatic, theatrical lighting, and we did it. It was like a 4 or 5 hour photo shoot. It was awesome. I invited some friends and some customers of Roots. That show went up, awesome. Then I went to Uptown Cafe, and that was the third in the series, Two-Faced 3. The owners there and their kids and a few of the staff, it was so much fun. Hello, welcome. There it is.
Ava calling.
I know, right? Avon.
Pennywise, I believe.
That's probably what it is.
It's not 7 days. What does he say? What's he say?
Dang.
Come down here or something.
Yeah.
Like, and the clown.
Yeah.
Ooh, creepy.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I had my friend Chloe Tersini join us at the Uptown one too, and so we did like a mini photo shoot afterwards. She is fantastic. She's got this really cool vibe and this unique a style. She does this. She's an artist. She draws and she makes awesome mushroom stickers. She does all kinds of stuff. You got to find her. Chloe Tersini. She's on Instagram. She has this very fanciful wolf. Not wolf. What's it called when you're a werewolf? Vampire-esque feel.
Before we bring up too many scary things,
I know, right?
We've got to show the.
You want to show it?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
Okay, so is that going to happen live?
Yes, it's going to
Okay.
happen live. Except I got to warn people. Yes, it's working.
Good. Are you playing now?
Yes, it's. If you want to. Yep, it's playing right
Okay,
now.
perfect. So I'm going to look at it. Yeah, what you're seeing, is it going to play with the sound by chance?
Yes.
Sure. It's fine if it's not. This is
Well, actually, no, it probably isn't experienced.
perfect.
Sound,
That's
so,
fine. That's
all right.
great. Good. So what you're seeing is a sneak peek of the fourth in the series, and that's Two-Faced 4, which is going to be at Fluid Coffee Bar tonight. And all of the rest of August. We're in August.
Yes.
And so it features the Skates, Chuck, Allison, Sophie, Ethan, and Maddie, his girlfriend. The 6 of us got together at the market events. Jason Lee, awesome. I don't know if you guys know Jason. Such a jolly, nice guy. Fantastic guy. He's a great chef. He cooks and makes food for market events. He did stuff for the Valley when it was the Valley. We were now Ricochet. They switched over to Ricochet.
Big fans of the Valley when they were open.
Oh my gosh, those twice-baked potatoes and the chicken, and then the deep
Pork
fried
chops.
I'm not a big pork fan, but and all the
Steak.
food.
Yeah.
Did you ever have the deep fried potatoes? Those were so good, like a honey glaze on top of a deep fried potato. They only sold them for 2, and it was like $800, but it was awesome.
Yeah, Kelly and myself still have not had lunch.
Oh, hey, we'll get to it. I know we're running through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got we got about a couple of minutes.
Okay, sure.
So,
I will say I haven't had lunch either. I was up all night.
Yes, you
I
were.
slept for 2 hours.
Not even.
Maybe, and that was within 2 breaks. And the reason for that is I keep putting more and more time into these galleries, these events, if you will. All the artwork is framed. I spent a lot of time sourcing frames from Society. Carrie at Society is awesome. Some resale shops, some in Culver, because during the school year I live in Culver. The school's fantastic. They put me up in this little place on the lake, and it's like a little loft area. It's awesome. But the downtown area has a lot of life. It's intimate, but life is there. And so I've been collecting frames, painting them all black. The theme is always for Two-Faced, black and white. I always do black and white, sometimes with a hint of red, kind of like iconic
Yes.
red clown nose. So the art is for sale. It's of Sophie, it's of Ethan and Allison and Chuck as themselves, as Maddie as herself, and them as clowns. I've got about almost 20 pieces up at the in the theater.
And they're all amazing. We can say because we were there this morning to get coffee, and so cool.
The one that impressed me the most is the family mural.
Oh yes,
of them
the
as
one
clowns.
that's backlit.
So there's this awesome backlit marquee I got from Simcoe Signs. Mikey at Simcoe, he's always awesome. He prints all my stuff, and he gave me this marquee and he said, "Here, you can have it for free. Just when you want stuff printed on it, go through me." And I said, "Of course I will." I always go through Simcoe. So I got this awesome family portrait, and Allison and Chuck were saying they don't even have like a family portrait of them. So here they are, backlit. It's like an awesome transparency. It's in the back of the coffee shop where it's the dimmest and the darkest little area we can hang out with your friends, and so there's that. I've got a bunch of photographs. Chloe's also there, the girl I mentioned before. Chloe did the makeup for Allison and
cool.
Sophie. So, Chloe's an awesome artist, just all around, well-rounded, and she does makeup as well. So she did their makeup, and then after Allison, Chuck, and Sophie, and Ethan, and Maddie left, Chloe and I did a photo shoot. I'll tell you what right now, this was the longest day ever. This photo shoot for this gallery, all the photographs were taken in one day, but it was like a 13-hour day for me.
Wow.
And the day before, you spend all this time prepping. You load everything into the trailer and in the van, and you grab this and you grab that. And, I'm setting up lighting. My friend Dan Watt and Mark McCauley, they helped with everything.
Oh, Marky.
Yeah, we are going to have to wrap it up.
We're wrapping up. So,
I know.
So why don't we tell people
Again.
about the where they can get tickets, the times of the show, and also include the show at Fluid.
Fluid, perfect. So two things. Gutenberg the musical. It runs this weekend. Friday is sold out. And when I was sitting here in the studio, we sold 7 tickets already. So
awesome.
Saturday is your best bet. Here it is. Da-da-da.
That's right.
Gutenberg the musical. You can go to ensembletheatercompany.org or Brown Paper Tickets and just search Gutenberg the musical. You can also visit Facebook. You can go to the Art Barn. We've linked it everywhere. NEDIF has it on their website as well. That's the Northwest Indiana's Excellence in Theater Foundation.
So it's needif.org.
NEDIF.org.
NIETF.org.
Yes. And then the Two-Faced 4 opens tonight. There's a reception. I'll be there from 6 to 8, probably a little later, but we want to make sure they close at 9, so we can get everyone out of there. We might go out afterwards. So get a group, come see the art. You can there'll be some prints for sale, limited.
Good.
Limited prints. Trying that out, and that runs all of this month.
Nice.
So yeah,
We're excited.
And with that, we really do have to wrap up.
we have to wrap up.
Plus, I have to do a little programming note. For
Brilliant.
those of you who are used to hearing Recovery Radio on after our show, they are taking a little break, and I'm going to let Megan Johnson talk about that when she's on the show next. But we're doing some programming changes here at WVLP.
So we will let you know about that.
Exactly. So stay tuned. And with that, Zachary, we appreciate you coming on the show and sharing about your art and about Gutenberg, the musical.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we'll have you on again for
I would love to.
coming up.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you. You're awesome yourself. And so, and
We're all awesome.
yeah, we're just so.
We're just all awesome.
With that, we wish you all a safe week and weekend. And for those of you who will be tuning in, we'll be at Wild Rose Brewery tonight at 7 o'clock.
Over in Griffith.
Over in Griffith.
And
so
then
you're
tomorrow at 1 o'clock at Sip
Sip.
2 in Highland.
Exactly. So with that, we wish you a very safe week and a very safe weekend. Enjoy yourselves.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Whew. Are we off?
Thanks.